Hello, and welcome to American Heron Wargaming. This is my inaugural battle report for Warhammer The Old World. If you've been following my channel for a while, you might have seen that I've been posting completed projects as YouTube shorts recently, and that they've mainly been centered around building up my Dwarven Mountain Holds army. At long last, I finally had enough ready where I was comfortable linking up with someone else to actually get a game in, and put my lats to the test. I don't think I have quite 2,000 points tabletop ready, so my opponent and I agreed to 1,000 point armies. I was thinking that it might be good to go even smaller with 500, but my opponent is more of a veteran and said that 500 point games can be very swingy. A small victory on one side can lead to a cascading effect. Seeing the sense in that, and since I could actually field a full 1,000 point army, I agreed. My army is using the Expeditionary Force army composition rules for the Dwarven Mountain Holds. So my general was an engineer with a handgun and the Rune of Rapid Fire, and the Expeditionary Marksman upgrade. I had a runesmith with only heavy armor and a single Rune of Spellbreaking, and a Thane with a shield and a Rune of Might. In my core, I had a single gyrocopter, since you can have them in core with the X-Force. I also had a dwarf cart to speed up my combat block of 18 dwarf warriors with full command and a Rune of Battle. Then I had 10 Thunderers, with only a veteran leading them. In special units, I had another gyrocopter, a cannon with a Rune of Reloading, and then 5 miners tooled up with the champion carrying a steam drill, a musician, and everyone equipped with blasting charges. I know they're not a particularly strong selection in the meta right now, but with the X-Force's ability to bring them in via different locations, I wanted to try that out. Plus, I just like the models, and they were the first ones I completed painting for the army, so it made sense that they would participate in my first match. My opponent was running the hated Chaos Dwarves using their Renegade Rules pack. I don't have their full list to hand, but based on my memory and looking at the board, they have the following: a Sorcerer Prophet with Demonology, and a Hobgoblin Khan on a Wolf. In their core, they had 14 Infernal Guard with great weapons, and 19 Hobgoblin Cutthroats with short bows. Then they had 5 Hobgoblin Wolf Riders. In this photo, they're tucked behind the woods in the upper right. A Hobgoblin Bolt Thrower was hiding in the back as well. Finally, they had an Iron Demon in the center of their ranks. As we deployed, I put up my gyrocopter on the left flank first, but then set up primarily in the center. My opponent favored the left side, but had the Iron Demon ready to come in like a bowling ball, and the Wolf Riders poised to flank. My opponent got the first turn and pushed up a bit. It was not too eventful. The only shot from the Iron Demon into the warriors was saved by armor. 1 or 2 got taken out by the Bolt Thrower though. In my first turn, I also pushed up trepidatiously. The clattergun from my gyrocopter on the right knocked off one of the Wolf Riders, and my cannon slammed 3 wounds into the Iron Demon, but otherwise damage was light. In turn 2, I had been unaware that the Wolf Riders could move so quickly over a hill, and my poor cannon got charged. Dwarven resiliency held though, as I only lost one of the crew members. I did lose 3 Thunderers to a battery of fire from the Iron Demon and the Bolt Thrower. The Hobgoblins tried to shoot down the gyrocopter on the left, but had no effect. The first thing that happened on my turn 2 was the Vortex of Chaos getting the exact scatter my opponent wanted and smashing my gyrocopter to bits. The other gyrocopter fared better and hit the Wolf Riders from behind. I was able to cause them to flee, but lost the cannon in the process. I also charged the Iron Demon with my combat brick, and got 1 damage through with a lucky 6 on the wound roll and the additional armor bane from the runesmith. Skipping ahead to the end of my turn 3 in this photo, a few other things happened. In my opponent's turn 3, the Wolf Riders had tried to set up a charge at my Thunderers. However, between the gyrocopter and the Thunderer shooting, I managed to whittle them down to just the Wolf Rider Khan, who ended up fleeing. I continued to push the Iron Demon back with my combat brick, banking on static combat resolution instead of getting any wounds through. The Infernal Guard was looking like they might be a problem in their flank if I didn't take care of that demon soon though. Turn 4 is where things really took a turn. In my opponent's turn, I got some very lucky rolls and finished off the Iron Demon. I let the momentum carry my warriors forward towards the Hobgoblins. The Wolf Rider Khan repositioned to get another charge into my Thunderers, though. And in my turn 4, the miners finally arrived, and pushed up to try to throw some blasting charges into the rear of the Infernal Guard, though that didn't help too much. The gyrocopter came alongside the Wolf Rider Khan and put 1 wound into it, but not enough to drop it. And then my warriors slammed into the Hobgoblin archers. They were hacked and slashed and tried to flee, but only rolled a 3-inch flee, which even my stubborn dwarven legs let me run down. My opponent's turn 5 was fairly short. The Wolf Rider Khan went into the Thunderers and knocked 2 down, and the Infernal Guard pivoted to try to set up the follow-up charge. Then, in my turn 5, the pony cart slammed into the Bolt Thrower and took it out with impact hits. Neither the gyrocopter nor the blasting charges could hurt the Infernal Guard. The Thunderers lost another member to the Khan, but only gave a little bit of ground. Turn 6 was even shorter. My opponent just marched the Infernal Guard out of charge range from the miners and the warriors, knowing that the gyrocopter alone couldn't do much to them. Across 2 turns, the Wolf Rider Khan and Thunderers dueled it out, but in the end, the engineer and the Khan both lived with single wounds left. In the final tally, I won on kill points, but it was a fairly close match. We didn't check to see how it would have been listed in the tournament kit, but it certainly felt like a narrow victory. I was simply considering myself lucky that I took down that Iron Demon before the Infernal Guard joined the party. I think that if they'd been able to get to my warriors, then between the hammer and that anvil, it would have been a much more difficult time. Overall, I was pretty happy with how the force felt. I wasn't so sure about committing so many points to the combat block, given that the X-Force is much more focused on shooting and war machines. But without that solid core, I think it would have been run down much more quickly. If I end up playing another 1,000-point match, I'll likely use this very same list. But it was just really great to finally get my army on the table and get a game in. And even better that I got it as a win as well. And that's it for now. But keep your axe handy.